Hey guys, Curtis here. Latest tip of the day. So yesterday, what I did is I showed you how to accurately step onto the shot and do the line. But what I want to do now is I just want to go over one thing because I know the angle wasn't great. So I thought that this way you could see it. And just so there's a few people that misunderstood. Most of you understood what I was saying, but I know that what I didn't do was show it to you right from here. So what I want you to do before we get into the new tip of the day, what I meant was it's anytime you're shooting a ball, it doesn't matter if it's straight, cut shot, it doesn't matter. You find the point. A straight shot's obviously easier, right? But what you always want to do is it's there's different ways, but most people are taught, make sure you draw a line and then you step onto the line and you step into the shot, or there's different ways to do that. But the one change that a lot of players where they struggle with is they get lazy with, so what they do is something like this. So they find the line, they go like this, and then they step in like this. But what I was suggesting, and this is the quick point that I want to make, I just want to reiterate because it's very important. A lot of the top snooker players, when accuracy is of absolute paramount, what they're saying is if you swing into it for a while now, yes, you're on line and you can do it. But what's happening is if you do it that way, you're twisting. But even if you're going like this, that you got to make sure that when you come in, that you're on the line, right? So basically what the idea behind this for you to try out is, if you want to do it like this or like this, doesn't matter. If you do it like this, I'm on the line, so I've got everything in sight. It's I just drop down. Or I'm working on something like this where you just step in like this. And what the subtle difference is your cue stick, which does the actual shooting, obviously, it's never off the line. So I go like this, I step into the ball, so I've never been offline. So it's like measuring something like this and then coming back. You can see it, but if you're always measuring it, you step in on a kick shot, let's say, you still always see the point. If you measure it and then take it off, it's harder to see the exact point. And when you're shooting a ball in like this, you want it to never be offline. So whether your cue is like this, the more it comes off the line, even though your body's there, you have to get it back in. So what I'm suggesting is that try as little movement is you do all the good stuff. You've done all the hard work, the discipline to step into the shot, find the line. What I'm suggesting is if you do this, it was never out of line. But if you're doing something like this, you find the line and you're doing something like this, you step in, you're better off, if you're going to do it like this. See what I'm saying? Slight difference. If you're going like this and you're coming in, you're coming in. Small difference, massive. But when you're talking about longer shots or things when you have to hit deads exactly where you want to, no English, dead center, it's much easier to find the point. I was never off the point, okay? So that is just from this angle showing you what I want. You give that a try and see if it helps out your alignment and hitting accurately on the cue ball where you want to. This little drill here, I'm going to show you guys what I want you to do. Honestly, Morgan he reminded me of this. They used to do it a lot in snooker, but he still works here. This is so simple, but don't let its simplicity like fool you, because this drill, trust me, what I want you to do when you come into league night or you're coming into practice for a tournament or even just in general, wants you to take these 5-10 minutes and do this. Yeah, don't just throw the balls out there. Give yourself, every time you play, you take the balls before you just throw them out and just start shooting around. You got the 15 balls on a tray. What I want you to do, now this is going to marry into a bunch of things I'm going to do down the road. I got a system called the 1-2-3 shoot system, and I developed it. It's still in the process. I think I've got it to where I can actually put it out there. For you players that want to get better, this is something that's going to be the foundation of it, and I'll expand on it with the drills to do, but it's called the 1-2-3 shoot like system. And I'm telling you, if you are somebody like a 7 that wants to improve very quickly, but anybody can learn from this because you're building good habits. But this is the foundation of it. I'll have to explain the 1, 2, 3 shoot system to you later on. If you want to come see me at League or this weekend at the tournament and ask me about it, I can explain it to you. And then it might be easier in person to explain to you the foundation of it and how you can start working on it. And I probably need a few people. I tried it myself and I find it works, but that's down the line. For now, what I want you to do is I want you to put, you can use little marks. I like to use those reinforcers if you can, but you just put this straight and straight, okay? Do not skip this. It seems easy, but what I want you to do, because first of all, we're going to do the same. We're going to build good habits. So I want you to do this, and I want you to roll it in. Put this back up, right back on the spot. Here you go. You got 15 balls there. I know it seems easy, but if you're hair off, you're not going to do it. So I find my system, I drop the cue, and what I want you to do is follow through, stay perfectly still. You're building good habits, meaning even though it's simple, I got a nice follow through, I stayed still, so it doesn't matter if it's a longer shot, it's the same thing. I have a nice follow through, I stayed still, and I didn't jab at the ball, I didn't do anything like that, okay? So what I want you to do is do this 15 times. If you're serious about getting, challenging yourself and putting see how many times that you do it out of 15. You can log it. This does not take long. You get into a rhythm. I step in. I know this seems easy, but if you don't do it perfect, but the important thing is for 15 straight shots, you're doing you're staying still. Your alignment is correct. You're building a good habit. So just because it seems easy, do not skip it. It's like warming up, like stretching in basketball, okay? Or what I like to really use a good analogy is in basketball, you don't just come out and start jacking up threes, okay? You would always do right around the rim, nice short things to begin with. Take a step back when you're working out on your own, and then you move out to the free throw line and back. You don't just start jacking up threes. That's not how great shooters became great shooters, okay? So this is the same idea. I come here. What I want to do, I'm going to stay perfectly still, my follow through, and I'm going to do that 15 times. I'm not going to do all 15. That's what I want you to do. This whole thing might take you 15 minutes, 20 minutes before League when you warm up. And then when you start hitting balls, you'll have made a connection with your body and your arm and your brain so you can start actually shooting instead of warming into the shots and getting frustrated, okay? And basically, it doesn't matter if this would have been longer. The process is the same, okay? Even if it was a longer shot, and like I said, as you later on, you can start doing longer and start doing these. But for now, don't skip this. I don't care if you're a great player. This can still help because you're developing the fact that you're going to shoot this in with perfect fundamentals and a consistent, if you'll notice, what's cool about this too is because it seems easy, your natural tendency will be get in. And that you have to stop yourself. Oh, it's easy shot. It's not easy, okay? It's not about easy, hard judging shots. It's about doing the same thing every time, whether it's a longer shot, a shorter shot, a cut shot. Those things, your pre-shot routine should stay the same. Find the line, drop my cue, however you want to do it, as long as the cue never goes off the line. And then you're going to find, as long as you have a nice follow through, it's fairly easy. So now, you're noticing I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do, that is number one. That is shot one. Shot two, what I want you to do is maybe a little more distance. This is a little short, but that's fine. That's called a roll shot. Shot number one, roll. It's the easiest shot to do, and it's also the most consistent. It's natural. The roll shot, when you're looking, like actually Tyler Dillabaugh had a great line. He was showing a player, that loved to draw stuff. He said, and this is so true, it's the ball wants to roll. It's going in a forward direction. So if you stop it there, that's fine, but you have to execute. It has to be sliding on contact. But in a draw shot, which is much more difficult to control. It's going in a forward motion, stopping, and then reversing. That's clearly more difficult, and I'm going to show you that in shot number 3. Stay with me here because this is going to be the foundation of your pool game once I expand on it. That's going to be the 1, 2, 3 system that I'm going to bring everything together for you. But shot number 1, you roll it through, okay? Shot number 2, I just brought it back a little bit so you can still get, but again, it's same exact thing. We want to find the pace, the speed, where roughly middle gets me a perfect stick. Now right there, because, well, you see how it went to the side a bit? I got lazy. So what we want to do here is a perfect stick shot. How you do 15, you do the rack again. What I want is a perfect stick shot. Find the line, come in, never come off. When it doesn't move, and I mean, there. See, so it's a little harder than you think in the sense that, yes, I'm making it. We're looking for a perfect stick shot. We're looking for something where it freezes. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to maintain my good habits. It's a little trickier here on a bar table because my bridging's not great, but that's okay. It's still about, there you go, okay? Back. Seems easy. We're going to do 15 of those. This means that the ball is not rolling, so depending on the distance, that's where the practice comes in. The ball, where to hit it. You can hit it softer and lower or middle with a little more. I'm trying to do this here with middle, and I don't want to drag this. I want to do this with dead center. And there I had a hair draw, so I must, because of the closeness, but not bad. So what we're going to do is 15 of those. That means it's sliding when it gets there. Hasn't picked up any roll, and it still doesn't have any backspin. Again, this will be shot 2. 2 is the foundation of your pool success because roll will be shot 1 and 2. If you're doing a lot of shot 1s and 2s, you're doing something right. If you're doing a lot of 3s, which I'm about to show you, you're doing something wrong. So come in here, don't get lazy. I really got to bear down on this because it's easy to make it, but what I'm trying to do is with middle, stop it, there. And you'll also feel, and this is the powerful part, is if you stick with this and you do this a lot, like these are the first balls I'm hitting, so, you know, even myself, I can feel just now that I'm starting to get, you know, my arm-brain attachment here is starting, my stroke is getting a little more, so if you stick with this, it's getting a little more kind of in tune. So I'll probably be able to do more stick shots when you stick with it. Stick with it. So we're going to go now to shot number 3, which is the hardest. And I'm going to show you why. Because, again, we go back to where you were with 1, just roll, roll, roll. 1 and 2 are fairly easy to execute. And that's why they're going to want to be the foundation of your positional play in pool. For sure. And I'm going to show you all of this I've put together a pretty good thing, I think, about how to play exercises and games and bring this to your game, but the 1, 2, 3 system. 3. So what I want you to do is same thing, and I want you to draw it right back in the corner pocket. What you're going to find here, it's getting the draw shouldn't be the problem because there's not that much distance. It's the same shot that you did for 2, which was middle with that stroke. You just go a tip lower. It's the same idea. But here's the thing. You're going to find you're going to draw off to here. You're going to draw off to here. So it will always be more difficult, no matter how good of a player you are, if you're trying to draw into areas. And that goes back to what we talked about. The ball wants the natural roll. Doesn't mean that you can't become very effective with this, and you will need to draw it at times. But the foundation will be rolling it naturally and sliding it or stopping it for shape. That'll be the foundation here. If you do have to draw it, we're going to go like this. Watch this. It's what we want to do. We really need to knuckle down here because if we're a hair off, it won't draw right back in. So what we want to do is draw it right back into the pocket, okay? This goes here. Don't skip the steps. You're building muscle memory here so you don't start swinging in. You don't make a ball and then go on to another ball. Those are all habits that are going to absolutely stop you from being a consistent player. You can step in here. Now, one of the things it's a little better if I have more distance here because I can hold my follow through a little more, but that's okay. I have to get my cue stick out of the way. That's fine because we just want to really make this simple. And what we're really doing is following right through. You got to get your cue stick out of the way, which isn't great. That one, see, I just missed there. But we're making sure at the beginning that we're following through. We're not jabbing immediately. By following through and then getting our stick out of the way, it at least shows that we followed through in the first place. Step is down. We want to really, you're going to see it. If you're not absolutely perfect, it draws back. So it's a little off, but you know, still pretty darn accurate. And then what we want to do, you keep doing these. And you watch, you're going to find that it's much more difficult. See there? It's much more difficult. And imagine when they're longer, more challenging shots, so to speak, how much that magnifies. So we want to really knuckle down, come in, drop, a nice follow through, and we get it back into here, okay? You do those three things. It doesn't take long. You do it before league, there's a consistency. They're building good habits all over. And then after this, trust me, if you stick with this, there is a system that you can really play predictable position with. And I can really help people out that have mastered the roll, stick, and draw. But what you really want to do is make sure that on every single shot, you are doing the exact same thing. One of my favorite stories is Chris Wood, who was my kind of, I wouldn't say idol, but certainly someone that I looked up to. Chris Wood is a former Canadian snooker champion, and he's the first person to do it in the same year. Really, really knowledgeable guy. He's still in the Toronto area. Every time I go to Corner Bank, I often run into him. I love his stories. The guy is a real genius. He's a savant. He'd be one of those, those 1% when it comes to seeing it, been there, done that in the Canadian pool world. Like this guy knows. He doesn't play as much anymore, but the guy is very knowledgeable. And one of my favorite things he was known for, one of my favorite things about him is he was known for not having the greatest stroke. It's pretty short. He didn't have the flair, but his focus and concentration were second to none. There was an article written about him in the Canadian Pool and Billiard magazine when they had it back in the day about how even the pros marvel at his ability to stay focused. And here's the key to that, the principle that I know that he kind of does better than anybody. Because there's great pool players, talented, this and that. And you'll probably recognize this. How often do you hear this is, oh my God, I just missed the easiest shot in the world, or you wouldn't believe the shot I missed. It's so easy, so easy. And it's like, whoa. The difference between a very, very good player and a great player in many cases is very minute. So what's the difference? Well, the good player will do exactly that. They'll have a bunch of good shots, then they'll miss an easy shot, and they'll be like, I cannot believe I just missed an easy shot. Whereas the Chris Woods, what they will tell you, there's no such thing as an easy shot. They don't judge it as easy, hard, long. What they do is, there's two reasons for that. It's so that they stay within their system. What they do is, it's the process. They do the same thing on every shot, every time. It doesn't matter. And they don't judge it. What they do is what they can control. They don't say, this is a hard shot, this is an easy shot. They say, I'm going to find the line, I'm going to do my pre-shot routine, and I'm going to put a perfect stroke on it. If it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the way they're not trying to say that's easy, that's hard. Because first of all, from a psychological perspective, that's all messed up, because then you're starting to judge shots, and the easy shots you miss because you're taking them for granted. The hard shots, maybe you're telling yourself it's hard, so psychologically maybe you're going to miss more. Whereas you know that every shot that you're shooting, you know, like I'm talking about like balls, straight in balls that you can make, whether they be long cuts or all of this. You're doing the same thing. You're stepping on the line. So there, I reverted back. I'm going into the line, and I am hitting it with total conviction. And the other reason that is makes you a much more complete player is, yes, in some situations you may say that ball hanging over the pocket's easier to make. Okay, you could say that, but it still requires the same type of pre-shot routine. But position never changes. If you take it for granted, did you hit exactly on the cue ball? Did you visualize? It could be hanging over the pocket, but maybe I need to cut more of it. It's a half ball hit instead of full. Both of them go in. So you can't take shots for granted. You can't say easy. There's a multitude of reasons why not. But it all boils back to the fact that you need a consistent pre-shot routine on every shot. This type of thing will help you. I'm building a warm-up for you guys before league. And then the other thing, like I said, is you're going to have the 1, 2, 3. Once you start that, I could really help you move forward with a system that helps you kind of put that in gameplay. And you're going to realize how much 1s and 2s come into play and how much 3s do not when you're playing a real run-out pool, okay? All right, so that's been the latest tip of the day. It's a little longer, but I really think that this is a foundation that you got to build on. So really, like I said, don't skip these things. These are things that are easy to do. They don't take long. Instead of getting to league at 7:30, you get there at 7:10 and you do this. Or anytime you play, you just do this and think of it as warm-up. Don't worry what other people are saying. You're warming up, if nothing else, so that when you do throw all the balls out, you're at least warm and in a good connection with your fundamentals, your pre-shot routine. These simple things are what makes the difference. This is how you become consistent, not swinging balls in from all over the place. That will never be consistent no matter how good you are. This is how you become consistent, okay? So that's the latest tip of the day. Message me, leave some remarks because I love to see them. I'm always looking for advice too. Anything, if there's videos that you guys want, I'm more than willing to look into them. The next one I'm going to do is one where Jamie Dent had mentioned something that he wanted some videos about the difference between bar box and 9-footers, and I got a list of things. There's some real neat things there. So I think that's a cool little topic we can do. But if you want any topics, you let me know, and I'll see what I can find out about them and try and bring them to you the best I know how, okay? Thanks.